Stick It with Mr. Biggs is made possible by listeners like you. To support the show, go to askmrbiggs.com/support.
Stick it.
And welcome to Stick It with Mr. Biggs. I am Mr. Biggs, and there's Roger. Roger's with us.
Hi, hello, checking, testing. Here I am, 1, 2, 3. Just wanted to make sure the microphone.
Yeah.
We were we had a short earlier in the day, and
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about how it's going to perform.
Well, if you
the microphone.
Do you remember what we decided to do to not mess? You don't remember the wiggling of the wire?
Right.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just don't wiggle the wire, and it won't be a problem. Okay, now you're wiggling it. You're wiggling it just. We said we're not gonna wiggle the wire.
I'm actually more like taking the and
Okay.
pushing it into the microphone.
Roger, you're manipulating the equipment, and you're doing it during the show. Let's not do that. It's not professional.
I see. Well, I just wanted to make sure we had a good connection before we got started.
You know, it's funny to me thinking about what you just said, because by wanting to have a good connection, you were monkeying with the wire, and you caused us to not have a good connection. So it's the opposite of what you wanted is what you did. You do that a lot, you know.
Well, I did.
You've got good intentions. I'll give you that. Your intentions are pure, but the result is the problem. It's the result that matters, Roger. It's the result. So don't touch the wires. Don't wiggle them.
I wanted to do this before we started, but you were.
I got things to do and I got places to be. So
you kind of came into the studio just with like less than 15 seconds before we were going to go on.
How much time do you need? I mean, do you need to do some stretching warm-ups? Do you need to do some burpees? Well, I mean, what kind of preparation is necessary? I am here, and I'm ready to give people advice on glues, adhesives, epoxies, tapes. I am the guy who's got the information, and I'm ready to give that information. What kind of preparation is it that you need? Because as far as I can tell, your skill set consists mostly of manipulating equipment that you've been told expressly not to touch.
Well, I like to maybe take a few deep breaths with my eyes closed. And
okay, that's fine.
I've done that, so
the folks listening should know that we're going independent here with the podcast, and we no longer have a radio studio and an engineering staff to rely on, and we've had to kind of come up with a makeshift studio here in my rec room. And when it comes to technical issues and technical problems, I got the neighborhood kid coming in to help me with the cables and the adapters and whatnot. And he is not here today, Roger. So do us all a favor and do not futz with the settings or the plugs, okay?
Okay, and then I think he said something about a field hockey game that he was going to go to anyway, so he wouldn't be available anyway.
The team is looking real solid this year too. I've heard good things.
I haven't. I don't understand how that game works, so I don't show up. I don't go to the games.
It's time for breaking news.
Did we say
breaking news?
Did we welcome people to Stick It, right? Did we do that?
Yeah, we did that, Roger.
Okay. Go
time
back.
For
breaking news.
Well, we can't go back. I mean, once the cassette tape begins recording, it's going to keep going until we hit stop. If we rewind it now, we may not have enough tape left.
Okay. Breaking news.
Breaking news on Stick It with Mr. Biggs.
Stick it.
Here's a portion of the show where we talk about a story in the news where something got busted, and I give you some advice on how to fix it.
It's becoming one of my favorite parts of the show. It's fun.
All right.
It's fun to hear what's going on out in the world of out in the Stick It world, out in Stick It land.
Yeah. Well, I read a lot of news, and I like to stay current, and I do have a Google alert set for the words break, broken, shattered, damaged, and destroyed. And every once in a while, a news story will pop up, and I'll get a little alert, a little bing, and that's where I found this one. It says, Dateline, Aspen, Colorado. Lori and David Guerin paid about $3,000 each for 2 e-bikes from Hub of Aspen. And then it says, quote, we did the arts fair, we had lunch, and came back to unlock our bikes.
Sure.
And on both of the bikes, there is a little computer that sits on the handle, and the button was popped off of both of them, says Lori Guerin. Now, she's talking about an e-bike, Roger. You know what an e-bike is, right?
I'm guessing it's one of those. It's a bike. It's a bike that it doesn't take gas.
That's correct. In fact, I think all bikes can be described as one of them bikes that don't take gas.
Well, I was thinking like a motorcycle type bike, and
These are bikes. These are e-bikes.
And when you say bike, do you mean like one you pedal or one that you ride with an engine?
An e-bike is a electric assisted bike. You can pedal and you can pedal around, but it has an electric motor to help you with the hills. And when you're feeling lazy, you've had too many sausages, and you're feeling a little bit logy, you know, it's hard to pedal back to the apartment. The e-bike, you can push a little button and the electric motor will kick in and scoot you along.
Ah, that sounds nice.
Well, it is nice. They paid $3,000 for each one of these bikes.
Right.
That's a sum total of $6,000 worth of e-bike. Anyway, some jackass came... Oh, sorry. Bleep that.
Whoopsie-doo. Whoopsie-doo.
Some jackhole came up to their e-bike while it was locked up and popped the button off the controller. And with them gone, the bikes were effectively immobilized until the couple brought them back to the store they purchased them at, the Hub of Aspen. And Chip Siemens of the Aspen Police Department says he was aware of the vandalism, and the police are looking into it.
What was that policeman's name again?
Chip Siemens.
Chip.
Why, do you know him? You know a guy named Siemens?
No. Go on. I don't know who that is.
All right, well, Lori and Larry Guerin, their electric bike has a button that popped off, so they can't make it go-go. So here's my suggestion. There is a product that I have just fallen in love with, Roger. This stuff is fantastic, and I think that you're going to enjoy it too. Now,
good.
I brought a little bit with me. I want you to take this little packet here, it's a little black foil packet, not unlike the kind you'd get a prophylactic in. And inside of this is a little bit of something called Sugru. Have you heard of Sugru before?
Never seen one of these. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Right.
I've never heard of one of these.
It's kind of like Play-Doh, or it's a moldable glue that you can use to either stick things together, or you can actually fashion things out of this stuff, and when you put it where you want it, it sticks after it, dries and cures after a couple of hours.
Right.
But go ahead and open up that packet. Just open it up.
Okay.
Just tear the side of the...
Can't quite get it. So
okay, you might want to use some scissors, maybe.
Is there like a one of those little... There's a perforation on here. I can't find it.
On the corner. On the corner, you just rip it open.
Okay.
The little foil envelope, and inside there's a little bit of this Sugru. And what I'm going to suggest that Lori and Larry do is buy a packet of Sugru and go to your e-bike and fashion a button to replace the one that vandals tore off your electrical bicycles. So go to the hand controller, and then you take some of this Sugru and you just kind of stuff it in there. Stuff it into where the button was. And then wait for it to cure. It'll take a couple of hours. And when this stuff is cured or dried or whatever you want to call it, because it's not really drying, but that's what most people think of when they think of something curing.
That's an interesting distinction, but we'll save that for another episode.
Okay, I forgot to mention this. You've got that all over your hands now.
Is that?
Do not touch the wires. Don't touch the desk. Don't touch. Roger, for the rest of the show, I'm going to have to ask you to hold your hands at shoulder level, up on either side, and don't touch anything because you've got Sugru all over your hands.
Is this? Am I going to have to leave them up here for the rest of? Well, until we're done recording. Is that what's going to have to happen?
Don't worry about it. I'll do the heavy lifting. You just sit there and hold up your Sugru hands. So, Lori and Larry Guerin, just go ahead and fashion yourself a brand new controller button for your e-bike using Sugru. And stick it on there. Stick it with Mr. Biggs.
Stick it.
Stick it.
This has been Breaking News. Breaking News. Stick it with Mr. Biggs.
I love that segment.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's
getting better. I think we're finding our pace.
I always learn a lot when we do that.
If you want to send us an email, we've got an email address set aside exactly and expressly for that very purpose. And that email is bigscast@gmail.com. And you can send us the emails. And as far as I know, is it still up? Is the website still up? Are we good to go on that?
Yeah, ask Mr.
All
Big.
right.
AskMrBiggs.com. And then also, you can tweet us. We have a Twitter account, and that's Ask Mr. Biggs. We're at Mr. Biggs, and you can also
Roger. You said
tweet us.
Roger. You said at 2 times, and I can see that you're lowering your hands now. I'm going to ask you to please raise them back up, shoulder level. I don't want Sugru on any of this area here or this area here or on the head. No, not the headphones.
All right.
Do not touch the headphones.
Okay.
All right.
Well, anyway, what I was going to say is if you folks want to tweet your questions, look for us at MrBiggs.com. No, at Mr. Biggs on Twitter.
Anyway, my nephew Winston worked very hard on the new website, and I want to thank Michael over at Geek Squad because he helped us work out some of the kinks on the back end, the server end. We had some problems. Michael
seems to be making a lot of visits. Michael from Geek Squad to fix your issues with their server.
He helped me replace my router, and he ran some Cat 6 cabling down from the rec room up to the closet upstairs. And since he was here and he was doing such a good job, I did ask him to help me figure out my wireless speaker setup out on the outdoor patio area.
Do you still have the speakers that look like rocks? Do you still have those?
Yeah. The problem was that the one to the left of the patio had an intermittent buzz. And Michael from Geek Squad came out and helped me sort that all out. Thanks a lot, Michael. You do good work. Does Geek Squad do yard work? I have some edging I need done.
I don't know, but...
I got a case of Diet Coke waiting in the fridge for you. Icy cold. Come on by this weekend.
I think I might come by too.
This is not for you, Roger. This is for Michael.
Well,
anyway, the website's back up and running, and everything's fine. You can go there, and you can see all the ways to contact us. Yeah, I had a person on internet ask me the other day, Mr. Biggs, will you handle sealants? And I had to think about it for a second, and I thought, yeah, I think I will. I will answer questions about sealants. Send that question over. Do we have an email for the show, Roger?
We do.
Did you bring that? Don't touch that. Don't touch that.
I was about
Keep
to.
Keep your hands up. Keep your hands at shoulder level.
It was up on my screen, but the screensaver's kicked in, so I'll just use my elbow. I'll just use my elbow to.
Be careful. Don't touch. Don't.
Kind of. I touch my shirt a little bit, but I suppose that's.
I could care less about your shirt. I want to make sure that you don't touch those headphones, though. Those are expensive headphones.
Is that going to come out of my shirt then? Is that going to be okay?
It's going to come out of your paycheck if you touch those headphones.
All right. I've got the screen.
Why did you put the Sugru all over your hands? I don't understand. I mean, that's hard to do.
Well, I mean, I just squeezed it, and some came out.
I bet you did.
bigscast@gmail.com. That's our email address. So send your questions about glue and adhesives and tapes to that address, and I got one right here. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah, go.
Here goes. Dear Mr. Biggs, I have a project that requires 2 plywood boards be glued together, basically creating a new plywood board of double thickness. I have been using Tight Bond 3 as my local home store was out of Weld Bond, my usual go-to for wood projects.
Okay.
Here's the issue.
Yeah.
After covering the surface of one board in glue, I put the other board onto the first board and clamped it down.
Second board onto the first board.
Rather than staying square in the orientation I placed it, the boards skate and skew out of place slightly.
Yeah.
I've had 3 glue-ups ruined due to this issue.
Okay.
So the first question is, why are the boards moving? I used 4 clamps at first, then 7, and finally 12, all with the same result.
I got it. You used a lot of clamps.
Is there a way to stop the boards from moving after clamping? And do I need more clamps? This has me baffled. And this is Kenneth in Oil City, Pennsylvania.
Okay, Kenneth, let's see here. First of all, I heard you mention that you used Tight Bond 3 because they were out of Weld Bond.
That's right. That's what it says.
I agree. Weld Bond would be a great choice for this project, but you went with Tight Bond 3. First mistake, you go with Tight Bond 2. Secondly, you used a lot of clamps there, and I find it difficult to believe that you were able to put uniform pressure on the boards when you were clamping them on. I mean, that's a lot of clamps. You got to make sure that if you use that many clamps, don't tighten it down all at once. You got to put one on just a little bit, tighten it just finger tight, and then you move to the one opposite on the board, and you tighten that one a little bit. And then you move to the one on the other side, tighten it a little bit, and so on until you've gone all around multiple times and you've tightened the board down. Now, your issue with the boards sliding and skating, there's an analogy for this. You like sandwiches, Roger. Do you like sandwiches?
Love them. Love them. Have a sandwich just about every day.
Do you ever have like mayonnaise on your sandwich?
Sure. Sometimes mayonnaise.
What other condiments do you have? So I can make this relatable to you because you're simple.
I guess I like the mayonnaise, sometimes mustard.
Let's say you got a sandwich and you got one slice of bread has mayonnaise, the other one has mustard, and you have some lettuce, and you got your beet sprouts, and you've got your kale chips, and you got your, I don't know, whatever other crap you eat. And you
I use a darker mustard. not the traditional yellow. I use a darker.
Roger, the color of the mustard does not matter. Let me do the analogy. I have to be able to explain it to you because you're dumb. And if you let me finish, the whole point will be evident by the time I am done.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Don't interrupt with silly details like, oh, I don't like rye bread. I like pumpernickel. It's not relevant to the analogy.
Okay.
All right. You put your sandwich together, and as you're squeezing it with your hands, sometimes the innards push out the side, and it will hydroplane around. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That is what is happening with his plywood boards. He's got too much glue in between the plywood. I will recommend using a silicone basting brush.
Oh.
When you put the glue onto the board, you can spread it all around in a nice, thin, even layer. And the fun thing is, something I like to do, is I'll take my silicone basting brushes that have been used for glue-ups, and I will sit them brush up in an old mason jar in the garage. And when you come back for your next project, all of the glue will have dried into the silicone basting brush. And when you pull on it, it all comes out in one piece. It looks like a weird little mentally disturbed honeycomb of glue. And it's so much fun. It's very gratifying. It's satisfying to pull off the glue in one piece off the silicone brush. So after you apply the very thin layer of glue, you really don't need as much as you think you need, because that's a huge surface area.
Yeah.
So when you put the glue on, take a little bit of iodized salt and sprinkle a little bit of salt into the glue on the board. Salt your glue.
Wow.
That will have the effect of providing just enough friction. So when you put the other board on and you start pressing them together with your clamps, even pressure with your clamps, the board will have just enough friction where it's not going to slip and slide around. It's like you have that sandwich, Roger. Remember the analogy with the sandwich?
I do.
You
do.
take a little beach sand and you sprinkle it on the sandwich. Now your sandwich is not going to slide around, and all of your innards are going to stay in one place. It's just like the sandwich. Get it? That's why they call it a sandwich.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
funny.
I made a joke.
Yeah.
I made a joke about sand and sandwiches.
I wouldn't.
Nobody wants to eat a sandwich with sand in it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would not put sand in my sandwich. That would not.
It was an analogy, Roger. It wasn't real. It was pretend.
The sand would get in your teeth. That'd be gritty. Salt dissolves.
I mean, it'll take a little bit of time, but it's going to take time for your glue to cure anyway. So, I mean, you got time. And then you clamp that baby up, and the next thing you know, you got a really thick plywood board. What do you need a plywood board that thick for? That seems excessive.
One follow-up question from me is, now these silicone basting brushes can you still use them to baste your meats out on the grill?
Yeah, you could, but why would you do that? I mean, the silicone basting brushes are very cheap, Roger. Just buy one for your glue-ups, and buy one for your sauces, and buy another one for your gels. You got one over here for creams. Buy as many basting brushes as you need. Have a dedicated basting brush. Don't use it for your glues and everything, and then try to eat with it.
It's bad. It's a bad idea then.
Hands up, Roger. Hands up.
Oh.
Easy. Come on now.
I'm just gonna.
Such a mess. You're a messy boy.
I'm gonna just rest them on the my elbows on the countertop. Is that all right?
Roger, you probably should have washed your hands immediately after using the Sugru, because now I fear that it's starting to cure. You should wash your hands immediately after using Sugru to get the residual Sugru off, because once it cures, it's going to be very tough to get off. Roger, you should have washed your hands right away. Look at you.
Well, we were in the middle of the cast, so I didn't want to just leave.
Bad judgment.
Oh well,
you're right. You should have washed them. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna. I'll go wash them now because we're pretty much done. How does that sound?
Well, first, tell them where they can reach us.
Okay. There's bigscast@gmail.com. That's the email address. And then we have you can on Twitter. You can follow us at Ask Mr. Biggs.
Stick it.
That's our Twitter feed. And then you can find us on Facebook. Ask Mr. Biggs on Facebook.
Roger, don't bother with all that stuff. Just tell them to go to AskMrBiggs.com and all of the links and all of the things and the places and the socials. It's all there. It's one place. Just go there.
Really, did Winston put that up?
Yeah. My nephew Winston. Speaking of sandwiches, Roger, Winston loves Uncrustables. He loves them. He works for Crustless Sandwiches because he's a little boy and he doesn't know any better. But, yeah, thanks, Winston.
The site's looking good, though.
Stick It with Mr. Biggs is made possible by listeners like you on Patreon. Special thanks going out to Antonia Gurgel, Mark Sorrentaliana, and Michelle D. McElswick. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to AskMrBiggs.com/support.
Stick it.
Is it back up, by the way?
The website? Yeah, the website's up and running last time I checked. That's why I was asking about it.
Maybe I'm typing the URL.
No, don't type. Don't. Jeez, Roger, come on. You're getting sucru all over the... Oh, man.
I'll go wash my hands then.
Time to bring out the solvent box. Bring out the solvent box.
Stick it.
Where's that?